Welcome to another episode of the Thought Exchange Cafe.
You're tuned into the cafe of the mind, where thoughts are brewed and souls unwind. The air is rich with dreams so fine. We pour our hearts in every line. The whispers dance like light through trees, a melody that sets us free. Welcome to the Thought Exchange, where ideas flow and minds array. A place where words will never fade. In this cafe, we're unafraid.
Greetings and welcome to another episode coming to you from the Thought Exchange Cafe podcast, where we bring you educational, motivational, and inspirational content that you may be able to utilize in your everyday life, as well as information that might help you to eliminate some of your fears. And that information comes from some of the things that I've been through and some of the choices and decisions that I had to make. Even when I didn't want to make a decision, I was still making a decision. And today's episode is going to be part one of the 4 Ps, which is planning, patience, persistence, and positivity versus, I would say, paralysis analysis. And some might say that you're not doing anything. Some might say that it's called procrastination. But yet still, I don't call it procrastination. It's paralysis analysis. And why do I say paralysis analysis? Because we could get caught up in planning something. Planning because it's never going to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I am not going to execute. However, on some of my previous videos, episodes, I say a quote, and that quote is, anything worth doing is worth doing bad the first time in order to get some important information, in order to get some important data. But most of all, just getting started. That's the first thing, just getting started. Some of us just can't get started. And ask me, how do I know? I'm coming to you with some real life stories that I've been through myself. I didn't just get here overnight. It took some time. It took some planning. It took some patience, some persistence, and some positivity in believing in myself. But not just believing in myself, believing in my worth, believing in my skills, believing that, yes, I could do this. Versus, if I do it, what will happen? The what ifs. What will people think? What will people say? And that could hinder your planning and put you in paralysis analysis, because we all want to look good. We all want to look good to other people, because by looking good to other people, we feel as though we may get accepted. But I'm going to say this, and I'm talking from experience. It doesn't matter how good you look. If your attitude and your character and your spirit is not right, it doesn't matter how you dress it up on the outside. You're still going to be a garbage can, smelling like a garbage can on the inside. And when you go to look in that mirror, those clothes are not going to make you feel any better. I know some people who don't even have mirrors in their homes. And For some reason, some folks, it's a spiritual thing for some folks. But for this, now this is only my perspective, because I was there at one particular time myself, not liking the other person that was staring back at me. And why I didn't like that person that was staring back at me, because I didn't know that person. That person was unfamiliar to me, because I was so caught up in getting caught up in paralysis analysis, this planning thing and not moving, that time and opportunity would knock at my door. But because I did not open the door, opportunity went and knocked at someone else's door, and they opened the door. And I seen them walking together, hand in hand, smiling at one another. Hey there, how you doing? How are you doing? Well, we're both doing fine today. And why was that? Because they opened the door when opportunity knocked. And I was afraid to open that door because I was afraid of the unknown. And not just afraid of the unknown, but planning just as well too. I can remember there's a saying that says, plan something and watch God laugh. Just recently, I met a gentleman, and this gentleman was from Vietnam. And he began to tell me a story about him building. He wanted to build these units on this property, on this lot. And he said that I drew up 6 units and I took it down to ISD and they denied me. And I'm scratching my head saying, why? I did everything right. He said, then I built 8 units. I drew up 8 units and I went back down to ISD and they denied me again. And he said, but I didn't stop there. He said, you know what I did? I decided to build more. I decided to increase my territory. So what I did was I drew up 14 units. And when I went back to ISD, they approved the 14 units. What did that say to me? That said to me that, Tony, you're planning too small. Tony, you're playing it too safe. And you see, he kept planning, even though he hit some roadblocks, even though he had some challenges in his planning to build these buildings or these units on this land. But he didn't give up. What did he do? He practiced the 3 Ps: patience, persistence, and positivity. Okay? But he stayed planning. He did not give up. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Continue to plan. But in your planning, stay patient, stay persistent, stay positive. Don't give up, even though you're going to hit some hurdles, you're going to get some challenges. And who knows? You just might be planning too small. You're not a small person. You're not a small-minded person. So we must stop thinking that way. We can't think the way society tells us to think. And there's another quote that says, you can't tell your dreams to everyone because they cannot see it for themselves, and they're surely enough not going to see it for you. My name is Tony Davis, coming to you from the Thought Exchange Cafe podcast. And this is just part 1. Part 2, I'll come back and share a little bit more on planning, patience, persistence, and positivity, as well as the opposite side of that is getting caught up in paralysis analysis. Early on, I talked about a book that I am currently reading. And the book is called The Frequency Effect, the Invisible Force Behind Thought, Emotion, and Reality. And this is the book. And I said that I will be sharing this book with my listeners and the viewers and the subscribers. Why? Because I believe there's very important information in this book. And I'm not just reading this book just to be reading this book and sharing it with you. I'm applying this knowledge because knowledge is good, but applied knowledge creates power. And on page 12, Oral Mechanics, chapter 4. And in my highlights, your aura is a visible trace of this toroidal field in motion. Above your crown, it spirals out, often reflected in the growth pattern of our hair or your hair. Each layer of the field maps to a level of consciousness: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. These aren't symbolic terms, they're energetic bands. When internal conflict or emotional distortion disrupts these layers, the torus weakens. And when it weakens, life stops responding with precision. Field integrity is everything. Your aura is the outer layer of your energy system. It reflects your current state and stores traces of past emotions, traumas, and beliefs. Each loop of the torus acts as a feedback cycle, pulling in new energy and broadcasting your frequency. When coherent, the aura becomes stable and precise. When disordered, the field fragments. This isn't symbolic. It's a practical interface with the field shaping your experience. When I come back, I'm going to share a little bit more of the frequency effect, but also I'm going to share with you what I've learned by applying this knowledge. And what I want to say to you is, do not allow anything or anyone to disrupt your field. It's your field. It's your energy. Remember, emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. My name is Tony Davis. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of the Thought Exchange Cafe. If this resonated with anyone, if it resonated with you, or you think it might help someone, share the video, share the content, and continue to tune in. Your support goes a long way. Thank you so much. Until I see you next time, may God continue to hold you, keep you, bless you, and stay positive, persistent, and patient. And get out of paralysis analysis the best way you know how. Until I see you again, take care.